When you talk about Norwegian racing circuits, the first one that comes into mind is Hell, the rallycross track. But this isn't Hell. This is, if anything, the devil's advocate. This is the Rudskogen Motor Centre, a track which is absolutely beautifully constructed and is free on the iRacing service. This is the sort of track that you wake up, you go and race, and you suddenly have a realization this track really can be as difficult as it gets. With a championship on a line, 3 drivers with a chance of victory, who is going to cast out and get the magic reeled in to them today? This is your RTA Virtual Motorsport GR86 series, and it's live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello one and all to the season finale of the championship, where Rory O'Shea, Sean McGoldrick, and if he turns up tonight, Jordan Kelly have an opportunity to win outright a place in RTA Virtual Motorsport's history. I'm Jake Sperry, and joined alongside me in the commentary booth, as he has been all season long, is Craig King. Daniel Costello jumps on the cameras for us tonight. He's spinning them around, that were provided by Dougie Beard. But Rudskogen, a track which doesn't necessarily have the motoring history, heritage, and legacy that other circuits have had, but this is a national style circuit that really does have its unique charms and features. Let's get an understanding of this place here with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Rudskogen Motor Center. Located about an hour and a half south of Norway's capital of Oslo, the southerly placement allows for a much longer racing season than you'd expect in a Scandinavian country. At just over 2 miles, or 3¼ kilometers in length, the 14-turn track makes for a perfect lower to mid-level racing circuit. A nice amount of elevation change and some truly picturesque scenery makes it not hard on the eyes for fans, but retains a delicious amount of challenges for drivers. There's of course the obvious places for passes, such as into the sharp chicane of turns 1 and 2. But in spite of the long downhill stretch into 3, it's way too fast of a corner to try and overtake unless you're seriously brave. 7 and 8 include a frustrating triple apex sequence that rises, drops, and then rises again, all within what effectively becomes a single corner. There's also the tricky combination of 13's swift entry, then a seemingly never-ending final right-hander to dump you onto the main straight. With it being part of iRacing's base content, drivers are likely to get plenty familiar with this track, and they'll need to thanks to the very technical layout. But overall, it's easy to see why this is a popular destination for all Norwegian motorsports fans.
A fantastic look at what makes Rudskogen such a good circuit to hone your craft on. But this is the sort of track that when you profile it out, it really does look like a discount version of the Shanghai International Circuit when you put it up on screen. But Craig, this is a track which does have a lot of great places to find overtakes, but most of them come through the opening in length and had 10 corners. They added 4 corners and an extra 0.9 of a mile around this track to make it the 2.02 mile circuit, the 3.25 kilometer motor center that it has become today. But let's take a look at how the Drivers' Championship stands going into tonight. The drop rounds have been added. Rory O'Shea is 20 points to the good after his heroics last time out at Oran Park. But, like Sir Jordan Kelly, 20 points back, has still less than 5 minutes to get into server. If he doesn't make it into server for race 1, he is locked out of points and will remain at best second, at worst 4th place. With Sean McGoldrick in 3rd, his task is simple: win. He's got 3 races to win. If he lets Rory O'Shea have any of these, he knows that he's in trouble. He cannot afford to trade wins with Rory O'Shea through the 15 and 10-minute races. If Rory O'Shea has a gap of 20 points or more heading into the last race of the night, he would have wrapped this up with a race to spare. Peter McCann has an outside shot in 4th position, but he's hoping on miracles for those in front in order to move forward in his championship pushes. Dylan McClements finds himself 5th, and what a scrap we've got on our hands in the race for 6th, with Evan Walsh, John McDonald, Adam Dowling, and Ian May, all with a chance of taking 6th or even potentially 5th in the championship coming out of tonight. So a big battle going on for those in 5th. Robert Moore rounds out the top 10 overall in terms of this season. But Craig, we now talk about what makes this championship interesting. There are 60 points on offer tonight, and they're split between 3 races.
Split between 3 races, 20 points in each race. Qualifying's happening right now, and it will set the grid for the first race. It's the sprint, the 15 minutes race. And if you thought we couldn't get quicker than a sprint, we're going to have a super sprint. Race 2, 10 minutes, and that grid from race 1 will start in those positions. Then we take the top 8, and we reverse them for the feature. 20 minutes around here, and that could be very interesting. Even if the championship has already wrapped up, there'll be people trying to prove a lot of things. Drive-through penalty at 15x, disqualification at 20. Normally, I say off-tracks are the staple for these drive-throughs. I think it's going to be a loss of control and spin-outs. Could camper a lot of drivers tonight.
It could catch a lot of drivers out if they find themselves in the wrong position. They now have 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining on the clock here at the Rudskogen Motor Centre. Driving now here is John McDonald in the Potato Nation car. He's looking to try and get as much as he can over the line. A 34.3 will not improve, though, on that lap time. And the key will be finding any track improvements out there here today. In-sim time is in the middle of the day. We're coming up towards 10 to 2 in the afternoon, but the track temperature, get this, is just 24 degrees centigrade out there. It's traditionally Norwegian cold. It is Viking cold.
Oh, but who doesn't like it? It's nice and cold. Who's got a problem with it? 18 Celsius in at the air temp. Looking pretty cool and calm out there for me. So is Sean McGoldrick, Mr. Sparkle, coming by, but he's in 3rd position in the qualifying. Not where he wants to be. He wants to be on that front row ahead of Hegarty, because if he can just be side by side with Rory O'Shea, get a chance to get down the line. He has the toe with the Sosua. He's going to try and cross the line here. He won't get a time for another one. It is not fast enough to go in the pole, but it is P2.
It is by 0.5 of a second, and he won't have enough time for another lap with how heats work in terms of iRacing. What a qualifying by Chan Wing Fei, by the way. He's up in 4th position. It's the best he's done all season. And finally, the Truno AE86 has woken up when he's needed it the most.
And if you've got that on your bingo card, do take a drink. But yes, that car has been iconic all through the season. And Chan looking to see what he can do here. He's going to have time for one more lap. Can he improve? He is only a 10th away from Sean Hegarty as he just starts to come and wind up near the end of the track. Just a few more to go. But look how much that car wants to fight, Jake, when he goes high and tight around these corners.
Yes, this is a car that automatically has traction control. It's going to fight over every heavy curb around here today. And look at how Chan Wing Fei batters every single part of this circuit, trying to maximize the runs off of the exit. He takes the DRS board as well for a bit of solace, but he will not improve, and that will be everyone then in terms of qualifying. So forget Jordan Kelly. His championship is over because he's not here. This is the qualifying grid for heat number 1, your first race of the night. Rory O'Shea is on the pole position and has his main rival, Sean McGoldrick, for company. Sean Hegarty will start 3rd with Chan Wing Fei in 4th. Adam Dowling and Dylan McClements Howells row 3. Ian May has John McDonald for company 7th and 8th, with Lawrence de Sosua 9th. And Peter McCann rounding out the top 10. The last 2 drivers setting times were Jamal Gandor and Gary Corcoran. Those made up the 12 drivers then who will take to the starting grid around the Rudskogen Motor Centre. And the opening 2 corners around this circuit have a very similar feel to the opening at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So make sure to keep in mind that if you're on the outside at turn 1, you've got a chance into turn number 2. Advantage those on the right-hand side of the circuit as well as the lights go on for the 3rd to last time this season. It is O'Shea versus McGoldrick as we get ourselves underway. Decent start on the pair, but Sean Hegarty gets the best of the front 3. A big push over to the inside, blocks off the road. does Sean McGoldrick hold station and gets the place that he wants in the early moves. They scamper through turn 2, and now they hit the crest and look to descend down the hill over towards turn 3. Slowdowns already for both Dylan McClements and John McDonald. They've got to slow it way down on the opening lap.
Yeah, McClements made up 2 positions. He's going to be losing 2 positions after that. And you just see DeSosa getting by him. And this is the corner that's going to make a lot of mistakes. Cars bouncing around already. Ian May with a little bit of bouncing. McClements will hold on with that with DeSosa. They're going to go side by side into the S's.
Yep, so DeSosa jumps the place, moves up into 7th. Now, 8th place is important, not just yet, but it will be later on in terms of the racing. Adam Dowling trying to give chase as well. He's got Chan Wing Fei in the sight, trying to get past the number 13 machine. Not going to have that. It's lucky for some. Down the hill. Very important section of track, turn 10. Back up the hill through 11. And this is a big left-hander that you got to get through as Peter McCann, who has that uber outside shot, will be, as it stands, out of title contention if it stays like this.
This is not where he wants to be. He needs to start making moves and making moves quick. He's already 3 seconds off that battling pack, and he's made a big mistake at the final corner, turn 14, and now he's just going to have to try and recover this. There's only 13 minutes left. It's the first time by Adam Dowling, though. He looks like he's going to be making a move. Maybe not yet, though.
Not yet. So he's going to have to wait. Turns 1 and 2 really do open up that chance. But turn 3 isn't a traditional braking zone. It's not really a traditional corner. It's a huge slingshot through that corner, down the hill and back up it again. And especially in cars like these, which don't generate that much power comparatively to other cars on the iRacing service, where you're relying on the grip that you've got beneath your wheels, you're pretty much trying to hope that you have a run, or if you have a wiggle like that from about 6th position, Mr. May, that's not quite what you're hoping for. This is going to be a very, very close fought battle. And remember that P5 overall in the championship that we're clamoring over at this point in time? Well, with Dylan McClements down the order now in 8th, and a mistake there going through the field for Adam Dowling, it is progress now moving forward.
He's got more progress as well. He's going to be able to get past Dowling after making that mistake on the Stossler, and just gets it straight away to all of a sudden McClement. Got those 2 positions back that he lost after having to take that slowdown. He is going to keep going, but Gary Cochran had a little bit of a moment there going around turn 10. It does feel like he just got a little bit too hot there as he made a spin.
It was a lot of bit of a moment. I think going around like that's always going to be not what the doctor ordered. But as they make their way over the line then, this second lap score complete, Rory O'Shea, I think, was only fractionally faster on that last lap by a couple hundredths of a second. That's why he's got the fastest lap next to him on the boards, because he is having to push with a Sean McGoldrick who absolutely is throwing everything at Rory O'Shea at the moment, keeping him in the sight as it stands, with Sean Hegarty having a great race in 3rd and Chan Wing Fei in 4th. It's all about who can find a number of points out there in this at this point in time. No Evan Walsh here today, so that means that there'll be jumps for John McDonald and Adam Dowling and Ian May. They all have the focus in terms of catching and passing over championship points Dylan McClements.
Yeah, everybody wants to get past Dylan McClements after the fantastic season he's had in his first season. Remember, not taking the first 2 races. The mistake, though, by Rory O'Shea, and this looks like a move for Sean McGoldrick.
Trying to look down the inside here to get that through, but that there is not going to happen. In fact, McGoldrick there has lost out. That there in front is now going to be very important, because that is Sean Hegarty now who leads this race. It is now Rory O'Shea who finds himself in 2nd and now in 3rd. Now that came out of relative nowhere for Rory O'Shea as he dropped down to about 80 Ks. It almost looked like he hit the pit limiter, and through the middle went Sean Hegarty, not waiting for anyone. Go on, my son, with the race lead. And now we've got a race on our hands because we've got Chan Wing Fei in the mix as well.
This feels like it's a little bit of IndyCar, isn't it, with the weaving, trying to break the toe. But McGoldrick having to see what he can do, but he's right on that back of Rory O'Shea. almost could be pushing him through the corner right now. He wants his position. This is going to be tough for Rory to defend just with the nature of this elevation and the nature of turn 3. He is going to have a challenge on his hands here.
He's going to have a huge challenge here. Through turn 3, he's not going to make a move. No one is through this section, but it's easy to get it wrong through here. Try and marry up on the exit, and that's the key. Where can you put the power down? Two contrasting lines between Hegarty and O'Shea, flying up through the S's and up over the plateaued ridge and back down the hill. This is where O'Shea leaves the door slightly ajar there for Sean McGoldrick, trying to nose away through, and he's not going to find that here. He's not going to get an opportunity, but O'Shea turns attack to defense, or defense to attack, I should say, trying to find a move on Hegarty, and bang, into the side. Chan Wing Fei looking opportunistic.
Yeah, Chan Wing Fei, he is looking to try and catch up there. Has that caused any noticeable damage to McGoldrick here? Kind of needs that wing, kind of needs that downforce, but I think the crucial thing is he's lost time to Rory O'Shea. He has to get ahead of Rory, and at this moment, he isn't even close to getting there. 8 minutes and 40 seconds remain. He still has time, but as they weave on to start another lap, what does he have to do? Rule number 1, or step number 1, let's get up to Rory.
Yeah, he's got to get up there, but there is one Mr. Sean Hegarty who runs wide through 1. Open the door up then at 2. This could be the chance that Rory O'Shea's been looking for. Down the hill, he'll look to pull alongside. They'll run either side of the divider in the road, and he's got the overlap there in the SimRace City car. Can he navigate his Toyota GR86 to the inside? He absolutely can, and he will take the race lead away. And look at McGoldrick all of a sudden. He feels opportunistic. Well, if he can go through, I can go through. And suddenly they're back as they were, 1 and 2 again.
Smart play by Sean McGoldrick. Door was wide open for him, and he knew that Hegarty could not turn in quick enough to cover that door. So straight away, McGoldrick back up to Rory O'Shea. That gap has managed to close as well. Got to be careful not to just go off the track there like he almost did. Half a second now is the gap. He's got plenty of time. He can now just relax a little bit. But wow, Hegarty trying to make a dive there.
Wow, Chan Wing Fei almost making a dive there. He's been electric there, trying to make sure he gets through on the brakes at turn 10. That's his corner. He wants to make the pass on, but it's not necessarily transforming that way. Behind as well, Dylan McClements, who is looking to put a stranglehold on that 5th place in the championship right now, is in P5 and is joining this group at 33.5 on that last lap. Was the fastest of anyone.
Yeah, keep your eyes on McClements. He might be able to get P4 maybe. And then what's he going to do when he catches the pack? He's starting to tow away from Dowling into Stosua. The gaps at the back of the field are starting to spread out a little bit. In some respects, he's almost on a race of his own. McGoldrick, though, he's not in a race of his own. He's in a race for the championship.
He is in a race for the championship, and he knows how important this race one is, because O'Shea right now would be 26 points clear at the top, and it would take at least here a number of points through. Now remember, points work 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, and then it's 1 point increment after that. So you get 12 drivers here today. That's 4 points, which means that the gain would be 16 each race. It would still be doable for Sean McGoldrick here tonight, but it would mean that it would rely on gaining 13 points a race, which would mean a bottom 4 performance for the last 2 races, so 9th or worse for the last 2 races for Rory O'Shea. Now they start to pack up 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Chan Wing Fei racing for a first podium here tonight of the season, so too Sean Hegarty looking for a podium. These two have been slogging it out, but no one has made a punch, really. This has been the feeling out process of a boxing match between these two.
Got to be careful, though. Is Hegarty the cork in the bottle? It could be very interesting. We have to keep eyes on that. But the 2 battles we're keeping our eyes on right there in the camera, and even a 3rd battle now happening in the background with McClement and Dowling. Again, not a good enough run on the exit for McGoldrick. He's got 5 minutes to find that run, because I don't think he's going to be able to get it by just squeezing his nose into somewhere like turn 8.
No, I don't think he's going to find it like that. I think he's going to have to be a bit more bold in the Mr. Sparkle car. He's got to be squeaky clean. He's got to find a way to make the moves happen. And if he is going to unlock that potential of what is an incredible race performance, he's going to have to rely on mistakes like that from Rory O'Shea, who will try and maximise off of the exit then to go through. But that's just how the contrasting lines, I think, there just work. And it just goes to show you can take that really shallow line there, 2, 3, and 4, or you can take the really aggressive one and stay wide and really square off the exit. This is a track where you really do have options available to the way you drive this circuit.
Yeah, it's one of those corners with 1,000 different racing lines that we see with a lot of cars in the sim. And especially with the way the car's reacting there, in some respect, going a little bit wider may help that car. Less fighting you have to do on the curb. Just like Adam Dowling's doing a little bit of fighting right now. He's trying to catch back up to Dylan McClement. It's very tough, though. If he can catch back up to that, we're going to have 2, 2, and 2 in little battles. Not sure he's going to be able to do it this time by. Meanwhile, Chanwing Fei getting past Hegarty, who makes a mistake at the final corner.
Yes, he does, and that mistake is just out-braking himself into the corner. Car goes straight, but one Chanwing Fei did not. He got that pivoted in, and he moves up onto the podium positions. Now Dylan McClemens joins the fray. Good luck, it says Father Ted on the outside of his machine there of Sean Hegarty, as it has done all season. The other side, go on, my son. But now you start to think and you start to focus now on what's on the front of the field. That is that, and you start sensing now that Rory O'Shea is being made to put to task. He has got to earn this championship, and McGoldrick will be his taskmaster. Of course, Sean McGoldrick, remember, was the winner of the opening race of this season.
And remember, usually if you win the first race on the night, you win the second race on the night. In the background there, Hegarty just getting past, McClement's getting past Hegarty on that little move. Another mistake by some of these drivers, and he's going to try and go for this again. A late send by Hegarty. He may catch this off though, and he catches McClement sleeping there. Nice little move, and he has to cut off this move. He's not going to be able to do it. The overlap's still there, and McClement, thank you very much. The ebbs and flows of this middle section just goes to show, as they continue side by side, just what can happen.
I'll correct myself, it was McCann who got the first race win of the season. It was second for McGoldrick, but it's shown how consistent he's been all season. You've got Dowling there, who wants to get through and wants to gain points because of where they are. Now here's a little think with 2 laps to go, a big think with 2 laps to go. Trying to unsettle Rory O'Shea at 1, goes Sean McGoldrick, and he gets into the back of him and loses traction. Just like that, the gap will extend back out again.
Not what you want to see. You don't want to lose traction, especially in that position. And look at that number rising. That's the gap. It was 2 tenths. A tenth. It's now up to 8 tenths. Onto the braking, they go for 3 and 4. He's going to have to do this the hard way to catch back up. But there's only going to be a lap left after this. What can McGoldrick do? Maybe being a little bit too aggressive there going into turn 1.
I tell you what, if this was a tennis match, I believe we've just seen break point found itself get played in the second set. That's where we find ourselves at this point, and you sense that Sean McGoldrick's got to find a bit of mojo and motivation and hope that Rory O'Shea finds a bit of troubles. Adam Dowling's still there in 6th position, has his eyes set on Sean Hegarty, but he's not quite getting what he wants out of this car. Just can't get through and gain that extra place.
No, he's trying his best, and you got to remember, McClement, Hegarty, doing some really good battles. Wide goes Hegarty there, but it's just that section. We talked about it. It's a bit too narrow here. If you get the move done, you have to get it covered on the next corner, and it's so tough with the way the racing lines are. So this is why get the best run out of turn 14 and look for the overtake. But Hegarty is getting a tow from McClement. McClement's getting a tow from Chanwing Fei.
Last lap then of this opening race of 3. The gap is now halved, back to 4/10 of a second. Sean McGoldrick has not given this one up, and it's taken some real resolve to get closer to the SimRaceCity.com car being piloted by Rory O'Shea. Now you start sensing that Mr. Sparkle maybe has one squeaky clean overtake left inside as Sean McGoldrick drives through 3 and 4 on the back. And look how close he gets. He's going to try everything to get past Rory O'Shea. He's not going to find it here, but a run through the S's now is going to be huge. Who's going to marry up that overtake? Who is going to find what they want? A little bit of a wider pivot in from Sean McGoldrick. He has to wait to put the power down, and just like that, Rory O'Shea builds that gap back up again as they pass the rock wall and down the hill into turn 10. This is a big moment. He's managed to hold his station, wasn't scared, wasn't perturbed. Couple of corners though will remain. This is turn 12 coming up, the 90-degree left-hander, which meets back up with the old circuit. And then 13 and 14, the small flick left, the long Oschersleben style right-hander to end the lap and to end race 1. Match point in the back pocket of Rory O'Shea. McGoldrick tried everything, but he couldn't manage it in race 1. Chan Wing Fei will take a very, very big podium as well. In terms of some racing, Adam Dowling looks like he's the big loser on the final lap because he's had an issue that has dropped him way back, as that brings him now behind De Sosua, racing with Ian May.
Yeah, small spin on the first corner for Dowling makes him lose a position, and out of that battle, Rory O'Shea will take pole position with Sean McGoldrick in P2. Chan Wing Fei will be third with Dylan McClements fourth. Then it's Sean Hegarty in fifth. Lawrence de Souza will making 3 places up in sixth. Adam Dowling seventh. Ian May, Peter McCann, Gary Cochran round out your top 10 with John McDonald and Jamal Gandor 11th and 12th.
Well, that's still Jamal Gandor trying to make his way over to the line. He's going to be almost a minute behind the leaders then in this one. But the 10-minute race is the super sprint. You have the grid as race 1's results were shown on screen. But here, Craig, the big difference maker is this. You have the top 8 inverts to keep in mind.
Yeah, and that could be crucial because if Rory O'Shea doesn't clinch the championship now, we know what has happened to Rory O'Shea in previous feature races when he's at the back of that grid. He gets caught out sometimes, and he does get caught in incidents.
One thing to note, championship stays alive with Rory O'Shea finishing worse than 6th position as it stands. That is the crucial matter of fact. First, second, third, fourth, or even 5th in this race will secure the title in this one for Rory O'Shea, who has been desperate to get himself to Titlesville as quickly as possible. It is only Sean McGoldrick who can do anything to stop that from happening, but you've got drivers in and around who, if they get a fantastic launch, could be in the mix as they go through. It's an uphill launch over towards 1 and 2, but as the engine notes rise, we got 1 not taking the start, it seems, as we get ourselves underway here for race number 2. It's a fantastic launch there for Rory O'Shea. He's able to get himself going the way that he knew he had to. Sean Hegarty starting from the pits then in race 2. What a start by Lawrence de Souza, by the way. He's already up to 4th, challenging Dylan McClements, trying to get himself through. But a lightning quick start and troubles in the back for Gandor, for Dowling, and for John McDonald.
Yep, those 3 come together. A little bit of a moment. De Souza could not make that double overtake fit, but he's now on the defense with Ian May, and around the outside, he lets him go. I think that may have been a slowdown, maybe. Does feel like something happened there for De Souza.
Yeah, De Souza's fine, though. He's got no penalty, so he's okay. But he's back down the field now, back into 7th position. So he may have got a slowdown penalty through turn 2. Could have very easily have picked itself up, but he's now back in 7th. He's got to do that work all over again in this field. O'Shea leads, but here goes De Souza now on the outside of the John Pius Special Toyota GR86, piloted by Ian May. He's got the inside line scouted as they now try and drive back up the hill. He gives him just enough racing room, and De Souza now looks to maximise the circuit and go back to the outside and attack at turn 12. He's not going to find it.
Not going to find it. DeSoto has said this season he was going to be a bit more aggressive, and he tried that move around the outside. No traction there for him, and that was the deciding factor. Chanwing Fei having a moment as well just there in the background. He loses out there to Peter McCann, and it's not been the race that Chanwing Fei wanted to start this second race. Down 2 positions already.
He is down 2. And those 2 places are big in terms of what Chanwing Fei wants to do moving forward. Not going forward is the wrong way, and wrong way, Ian May. So, we find ourselves with an opportunity here. We got 7 minutes and 7 seconds remaining on the clock. Rory O'Shea in control, as it's now going to be an important run in this race. McGoldrick second, McClements in third, 1.8 seconds. There is Chanwing Fei, who is in 6th place overall, as we had the little bit of lull we went forward. Now here, Craig, you start sensing Rory O'Shea with the fastest lap. It won't matter much when you've got Sean McGoldrick going in. Lay of the land. You are in a position right now where you've got Sean McGoldrick, you've got Rory O'Shea, you got those top 2. It doesn't matter right now whether Rory O'Shea is first or second. It matters whether he finishes top 5, top 6 in this race to keep his championship in and secured before this final race can get itself off and going. He knows that Sean McGoldrick, all he can do is win, but it's a battle, but not a war at this point.
War of attrition is what they call it, I think, at the moment. They're just trying to keep it calm and just see what they can do. They've already got a 2-second lead from the rest of the field, which is big in a super sprint like this. In the background, Peter McCann and Lawrence DeSoto are having their little battle. You'll see them coming around the corner just now. And there, Dylan McClements, who's made one position up. Sorry, Peter McCann's made the positions up. Fastest lap goes to Rory O'Shea, 33.016. That sounds familiar to the fastest lap he set last race.
Yes, and that familiarity, I think, has been rather important. That familiarity of finding these fastest laps over and over again. This has not been the easiest game in the world in terms of finding out who's got what, because these two are so evenly matched. They are in lockstep with each other as they now drive back up the hill out to turn 4 and now look to the S's again at 5 and 6, and this brilliant middle sector as you go out of 6, up over the hill, heavy braking zone. Then at 7, and the sliding continues for Sean McGoldrick, who's trying to absolutely wrestle a car at 101%.
Yep, and we saw a slide through turn 3 and 4. We saw a slide there at 7 and 8. It does feel like McGoldrick is really starting to push hard on this car, and he's finding the limit, and the car is saying no.
Opportunity out there, but we are sat at a paradigm, at a moment where these two drivers have to find the magic formula out there, the one that will get them either the race result or a chance to race for the championship in the final round. McGoldrick again looks close to turn one. This time he thinks about it. This time it doesn't quite work, but now he's still got an angle, and he's got a hankering now for overtakes. He's got a hankering for position number one, and you sort of sense that if Rory O'Shea can see Sean McGoldrick down the inside, how much will he dive away and keep that out of position, Craig?
I think now he's just trying it, but look at that, the mistake from Rory O'Shea. They're going to go side by side, but again, he just can't get the traction because O'Shea taking that different line closes that door early. And again, back bumper to bumper, they go through this S's section, up and down, more sliding from Sean McGoldrick. I've seen sliding like this in an Audi GTO, and I haven't seen it like in a Toyota GR86, but my golly geez, he's making that car slide.
He is making that car slide, and that does not indicate quick. Fast and sliding does not equal quick. And that, for Sean McGoldrick, might be a Damocles hanging over his head. He cannot keep the car pointed in a straight direction, and he will know that Rory O'Shea can just mastermind every position now the way he's going. Over 5th place, he's got 7.5 seconds. It's going to have to rely on disasters in the last 2 laps for this championship to go down to its last race of the season. Chan Wing-Fei is looking at Peter McCann thinking, you know what, I want that P5, that'd be quite nice.
You would love to get that P5 back. It's going to be tough, though, when you look at Peter McCann. What can he do to catch up to him? Can Chan Wing-Fei actually try and get this? Great race here for Peter McCann, making 4 positions up in that silver and black car, chasing, well, defending against the white and black classic livery. But wide goes Peter McCann there. Shouldn't affect him this time by, but they are going to have 1 more lap left. The pressure is on.
And 1 lap after this to find all the moves, to take anything away from him. He's worked hard to get back to that place, but we'll still be keeping a wary eye behind on McCann and Chan Wing-Fei, who have both been having good recoveries. McCann, after his poor race 1, has done well to bring himself back into the order. But now, back down the hill, your leading duo go once again into the hairpin at turn 10, and he's got it covered, Craig.
That could be one of the last moves that McGoldrick makes. He has to start thinking, how can I do this? Surely, now he realizes the move has to be made at the start-finish straight into turn 1. He just has to set himself up for a move here, but takes too much speed, starts to take a different line, and that's not going to do it for him. He's not going to have the momentum.
No, I disagree. I think he took a line which gave him momentum there, which compromised the middle of the corner, but maximised the exit. And this is going to be the chance then if he wants to make it happen. Late lunge over to the inside. Rory O'Shea has to give him all the room there on that inside line. The 2 protagonists here in the second race of tonight. Not going to happen for McGoldrick. Round the outside, he tried to look, but he didn't quite get the angle and the momentum that he wanted. Back down the hill, it's a hard defence here in towards turn 3. How do you unlock it? Big move to the end as they drive on through. Not quite there just yet, but again, that opens up the door for side-by-side up the hill, here to turn 12, to the left of 11. O'Shea can herd away Sean McGoldrick, who's trying still to find places, still to find that moment. Here's the last chance saloon for the title, and it's now going to slip, unless there's a spin in this final corner. Rory O'Shea gets just enough of a drive. Not only is that a drive for the win as they drag race the line, it's a title. It's a title for Rory O'Shea. results in just a moment. We'll be back. And we have a champion here in the series. A race of fantastic proportions. Both drivers putting it all on the line. And it goes without saying, a great result. Rory O'Shea goes back-to-back, then races 1 and 2, and picks up the win by just 0.08 of a second over Sean McGoldrick. Dylan McClements will pick up third, ahead of Lawrence de Sosa in fourth. The top 5 rounded out by Peter McCann. Chan Wing Fei ends up with 6th, with Sean Hegarty 7th, and Adam Dowling on the reverse in 8th position. John McDonald, Jamal Gandor, Gary Corcoran, and Ian May rounding out then the 12 drivers that were here. We are going to have an opportunity, though, to speak with a handful of drivers, none more so than your champion, Rory O'Shea. Rory, you have a championship here in the RTA Virtual Motorsport Series. A championship which, quite honestly, you couldn't ask anything more of. You've had some amazing racing this season.
Yeah, it's been really unbelievable. I didn't actually expect to be terribly competitive in this car, because it wouldn't be normally in my wheelhouse, but I was really, really surprised and happy when I found out I found some pace in the car.
Well, not only did you have pace in the car, but the moment that you've unlocked it, you have been absolutely on top of your game. You've been holding off some very hard challenges over the course of this season. You've stayed the course, you've picked up the points, and especially the work that was done early in the season when things weren't going your way. How important was it to have that resolve and resolution to the way that you've been driving?
I think it was really important. Like, I think the early maybe round or two didn't go very well for me, but I kind of, after Virginia, I recognized I had the pace to be competing for the championship, so I kind of just kept going at it and tried my best to be as fast and consistent as possible, really.
So you get a 20-minute lap of honour now as you go through from P8. Are you looking to turn that lap of honour into the fabled Triple Crown of 3 race victories to end the season?
I might as well. My last championship, I did that, so I'll try to do it again.
Well, you've got 1 championship, you've got 2 championships, and Rory O'Shea, the floor is yours. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Just want to thank my team, Hypery. Wouldn't be possible without them. And just RTA for organising everything. Top lads, put on a great championship.
Well, a great bit of effort from Rory O'Shea. He takes the championship here and does so absolutely fantastically. But Craig, we are now just half a minute away from the last race of the season. It's 20 minutes worth of action, and we flip the top 8 around.
We flipped the top 8 around. That means that Adam Dowling is going to be taking pole position this time with Sean Hegarty side by side. Remember, we were talking about Sean Hegarty in the first race, where he's got a chance again. Chan Wing Fei gets another chance at 3rd place. And let's just put this in comparison. He started the first race in 4th. He started the second race in 3rd. He's got another chance to start 3rd this time by. And don't forget about Peter McCann in P4. And to go the rest of that grid as well, De Sosa will be in 5th position. Dylan McClements will take 6th. Sean McGoldrick 7th, Roy O'Shea 8th, John McDonald 9th. Jamal Gandor will be 10th, and then Coquelin and May will finish the 10th, 11th and 12th.
Well, they're going to want to get on with this quickly. It's only taken them 15 seconds to grid it up, and the lights are on, and the last race of the season is underway with Adam Dowling leading them off in terms of the charge. Everybody now will dance around. Look at it, 4 wide in the middle as both McGoldrick and O'Shea try and find their ways through. And it's carnage at turn 1. Everybody now tries to buckle a way through. O'Shea gets turned around at turn 1, and Gary Corcoran is up to 2nd.
Gary Corcoran's up to 2nd, but he has to serve a slowdown. He had to take the escape route to try and hold on to that. So let's just see how he serves this. In fact, he serves it with such way that everybody just gets caught out there. De Sosa will finally get by. Peter McCann will take that position, but around the outside, he almost gets collected by John McDonald there.
John McDonald on the binders. Adam Dowling, it's Christmas. It's Christmas because of one thing and one thing only. He has got 4 seconds of a gap in the opening half a lap of this race.
4 seconds, that's just what he wants. Jamal Gandor now trying to make his way up. It's oh wow, another spinner. And that's Corcoran going.
Corcoran up over the crest, finding out there's troubles there, and finds himself turned around, not the way that it would have been desired. But down the hill they go at the moment, and it's all changed. This is the 5th on back at the moment. May, McDonald, Gandor, and McGoldrick are all there in the mix. McClements and De Sosa find themselves in 4th and 3rd. Peter McCann up to 2nd, but Adam Dowling is currently your race leader and is looking to build a margin. Big slide there from Dylan McClements. Everybody's got the slick spec tyres out, and they're going full Tokyo to send off this car, and into the pit will come Sean McGoldrick with black and orange mechanical flag damage.
Sean McGoldrick having to take that. Repairs a very much of a chaotic start to the race. Give you the idea of how it's been. Everyone's gained 2 positions. McDonald and Gandor's made up 3 positions. Ian May's made up 7 positions. He's got the number 1 in his car for a reason. He is looking to push on. He has to try and just hold on to Lawrence De Sosa, though. De Sosa was really showing a lot of aggression out there tonight.
Yeah, that aggression is crucial. John McDonald, though, in 6th, has his eye set firmly forward. He wants to make a pass on Ian May, sign off this season the way that he knows how. They go back to open wheel formula with their Formula 3 championship later on next month. So that is in the back of their minds in terms of what they go through. Lawrence De Sosa, though, the leader, the self-proclaimed leader of the Potato Nation, is now looking for position number 2. All the way to the inside, back to the outside to try and find it around that outside. But the issue you've got with that downhill loop down in is that if you're not on the inside, it's nearly impossible to fight gravity back up the hill to make the pass.
Trying to find the traction, trying to use the gravity, but could not do it. Even then, when he realized it, he tried to go for a move to see if he could do a cutback. It just was not there due to that. And now, mistake there coming into 14, almost opening up for Dylan McClements right behind. These two have to be careful, because one mistake by either of them, and that number 4 of Dylan McClements is going to go from 4th to possibly P2.
Adam Dowling naturally puts the fastest lap in, but that gets usurped by Dylan McClements, who definitely wants to get through on this group and would have the pace. So too does Sean Hegarty in 9th position, who now has the fastest lap, but low on the inside, trying to break toe immediately there is Peter McCann. He's trying to pull every trick out in the Sim Racer's hand guide to not being overtaken, and he's doing it.
He's doing it, and you've got to think that Lawrence De Sosa right now on his stream, he's looking for these opportunities. The wiggle there from Peter McCann there as he fought that car, managing to keep it under control. Just hesitates there for De Sosa, allows McCann to get back, McClements, to get back in. While this is happening, though, look in the background. That's Ian May. That's John McDonald. We've got the leader of Potato Nation in the 2nd of this train. And right at the back of it, Potato Nation follower in John McDonald.
Yeah, a loyal disciple trying to get up to help his leader, but he's going to have to go through the gauntlet of the John Players special Toyota GR86, and that's going to always be very difficult to get by. Ian May holds himself in station, and this is a car with the GR banner standing for Gazoo Racing. Gazoo Racing, Craig, has been the ultimate performance division that we've seen out of a racing company in a very long time.
Just look at what they've been able to do with getting drivers in many series, and you think this may be the American side of it, but you look elsewhere internationally with their LMP1 plan, their hypercar plan, and not even to mention the old rally cars. This whole manufacturer just brings some fantastic cars, and can we just say it just produces some fantastic racing in these cars.
Welcome a Patreon or become a Patreon subscriber. It says on the back for Lawrence de Sosa, but at the moment, if he can become a Patreon, then he will now look to pledge himself a move up, or pledge that he will not be overtaken. Not going to find any of that. Then look how they oscillate. Coming back up the hill, and Sean McGoldrick with a fresh car sets the fastest lap of the race in anger out there in the circuit. And I tell you what, this is going to be some good efforts here of defence from Peter McCann. He is absolutely holding the weight of the world behind him, and nothing can stop him. It's almost like he is the sim racing incarnate of the Hoover Dam.
Well, I don't think he wants to be a dam, because if it all falls apart, it's going to absolutely cause chaos to everybody behind. And all of a sudden, he has to think that this defense is helping him. But at the same time, I think it might be hindering. If he starts to make mistakes, it opens up McClement. And if McClement takes that position away from De Sosa, I don't think McCann's going to be able to defend from McClement.
Speaking of positions, Rory O'Shea picks one up on Jamal Gandor, and he now dropped a little bit further back. De Sosa still having to have that moment of attack, but the longer that they wait, look at how much that defensive driving is costing them. That gap is extended out to Adam Dowling for 5 seconds. I think they're starting to understand now, we're not racing for a win. We're racing for second. After everything that happened, Adam Dowling got himself a pink slip to victory.
Yeah, let your hair down. You may not be racing for a victory right now, but you're racing for competition, and see the different ways that the McCann and De Sosa would take it. Wide goes McClements. He may be on the threat from Ian May, but right now De Sosa, the closest he's been on the back of Peter McCann. Going to be tough to make a position through 5, 6, into 7 they go. He tries it. The back of the car there, Jake, started to swing out there for De Sosa.
Yeah, he's really pushing. And I think it's telling. He's getting more feel, more understanding with what he needs out of this car. And he knows that for the last time, he can't be as pretty much close-knit to it. He's got to let everything hang out and go, you know what? We're going for this with absolutely everything, with all the gusto, with all the might that he could possibly go through, and very much a Dragon Ball Z style. He will need to grab everybody's souls. Everybody's got to help in terms of how he goes to try and make that pass. It's not going to work behind, though, for Dylan McClements, who pushes really aggressively into the corner trying to scare. That doesn't work, so he'll now look for drive off the exit, but De Sosa this time might have the run that unlocks it. But again, McCann's car placement is impeccable, covers off that inside into turn 1, and again De Sosa can't find it.
He's trying though. Look at the exit speed there. He really wanted to get the throttle away from Peter McCann, but McCann put his car on the apex there. He sort of parked it right where he needed to keep that car under control. John McDonald in the background there. He's looking at trying to make a move, but as we come down, McDonald just gets squeezed off.
Oh, shut the door. Why don't we hear May? Brilliant stuff between them. De Sosa nearly gets an angle as well, trying to get the pass done on McCann. Still not able to fully unlock the secrets and mysteries of Peter McCann, who has been doing it all right on defence and has kept the world at bay for a good half a race at this point. Again to the outside. We'll try Lawrence de Sosa, and this time he goes uber aggressive into the corner. So too does Ian May, trying to hold himself in his place. But now here comes Dylan McClements now. Attack turns to defense. He looks to the outside to get it done here at turn 12 as John McDonald behind opens up the inside and might have just taken 5th place away.
Might have taken it with the way this corner goes. I think he has, and he has indeed. Ian May loses out on that position. And do not adjust your sets. That is Rory O'Shea. Yes, that's Rory O'Shea who had that starting incident. He's right there, still in the thick of it. He's P7, and with all these drivers fighting, he hasn't really lost a step.
And all of a sudden, Adam Dowling at the front is sensing his own pressure. As round goes Ian May for the 2nd time tonight at turn 1.
Yep, another mistake there from Ian May, just pushing hard, and unfortunately that's all she wrote. He's taken the toe. He's going to wait for it. Dylan McClements isn't waiting at all. There's that opening there. He's trying to defend this distance where it's going to be tough. Round the outside, all the space given to him. Can he hold this? Around the outside, he's unable to. And just like that, finally, with 9 minutes and 40 seconds left, McClements, he's up to P3.
He's up to P3, but can he go up to P2? He needs to open up Peter McCann and unlock that final pass that goes through. They're thinking about how they pressurise Adam Dowling. You sense there's still opportunity if he overtakes a May, but it's all down to McCann, who is being as stubborn as a mule in 2nd position. You have to earn a pass to get through. It's like trying to get yourself out of a thorn bush. It is going to hurt trying to make that pass.
Trust me, I've been in enough thorn bushes to know how much that hurts. You do not want to be there, and that is McCann. He has got his vines gripping onto this P2 at the moment. He does not want McClements to come and get this. He knows what's at stake here. There's not a lot in terms of the championship anymore. Maybe he can solidify a P2, maybe a P3, but the key thing here, higher up the places, more points, points mean prizes.
Oh yes, Bruce Forsyth then will be very happy where he looks from up above, knowing that points do in fact mean prizes with 8.5 minutes to go in this race. With Adam Dowling 4 seconds to the good, Peter McCann is being his greatest friend at this point, with the pressure on from Dylan McClements, who is really trying to fight the bumps through the corner and then back up in again. Look at how the car gets thrown as you go through, and that's the sort of thing you feel in the force feedback of the steering wheel.
Yeah, you're going to feel it as well. You're almost going to feel the cars go a little bit light for a second. When watching it, it looks amazing. When driving it, I could not even imagine how it would feel like. Adam Dowling, he doesn't need to worry about that. He's having such a quiet drive after that first lap incident. He's just been enjoying it. I think he's vibing there, and I think as the kids say nowadays, the vibes are good. But McCann and McClements, they're having one hell of a fight.
Oh, they are, and the door just left ajar, but ajar is not a door, and therefore you cannot walk your way through it if you're Lawrence de Sosa in 4th position. John McDonald, though, is on the back, and the thrall has found himself there. But look at this from McClements, trying to open it up against McCann off of the exit. How are you going to help with the two Potato Nations, leader and follower? They're behind. They're both going to want to try and get in on this and try and help Dylan McClements, who's going to try and go around the outside. It opens up the inside here at turn 2, and he's going to have to leave the space. And you almost always must leave the space, because now here comes the move from SimRace City himself. And now you got to start sensing, where do you go if you try and do it? Cross the beams. Lawrence de Sosa searching. He's definitely searching for it. And he grabs a little bit of curb on the outside and has to pull back in line.
Grabs a little bit of curb, and it almost looked like he was doing some drifting there to fight that car, but he's kept it under control. You see as well in the background, that is Rory O'Shea. So he basically just said to everybody, thank you for keeping my positions warm, because I'm just going to now come back and fight. Where can he get to with the 6 minutes remaining? I reckon he can get all these drivers.
I reckon he can, but I don't think he'll get Adam Dowling. I think that's a bridge too far unless he has a spin. But it's still 4 drivers to pass in 6 minutes. Can Rory O'Shea throw a final salvo as a beautiful stamp on his season when you consider the fact here, Craig, that he was backwards at turn 1 at the start of this race?
facing the wrong way at turn 1, and he's been able to recover. And it's kind of been the story for him in most of the season, where he's not been getting the best of luck in these feature races, and now the luck's kind of worked for him with the way they've been fighting. If this was any other race, he would not be happy, but he knows he's got the championship. He can go for these positions. He could just unwind and relax. John McDonnell will be the first car he has to get by. Hasn't got there yet, as the train is just growing.
The issue that they've got is slipstream. That's the key. Each car will get slipstream off the car in front, off the car in front, off the car in front, which means nobody has got an advantage heading into the big braking zones. You're going to have to be inch perfect to find these passes, and this is what drivers are finding out. Okay, yes, I'm on the back of this group. Now what? That's been the rate here at Rudskogen.
Yeah, and it's kind of the story with Rudskogen anyway, with the way these corners go. Unless somebody makes a mistake, you're not getting a position. And you've seen the drivers trying to force overtakes around here, and it has been tough for the drivers. We saw De Souza numerous times try to go around the outside of 10, not working for him. Look at John McDonnell trying to make a move happen here. Again, it can't happen. The elevation changes with the braking just make things tough for these cars. They're having to do this the easy way.
They are, and on top of that, they don't have much power to mitigate that. So when you're going up the hill, it's very much momentum based, that you lose all of that issues that you got going forward. But these drivers, if they are putting that car on absolutely the right spectrum, they're in the perfect place. The moment that car triggers the traction control that they can't turn off in this car, a huge shame. By the way, I'm going to take a tangent away from my point now here, Craig. Whose idea was it to build a car that is the spiritual successor to a drifting machine and then decide to troll everyone and say, oh no, traction control stays permanently on?
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I've got no answers. I still think it's a fantastic idea that Toyota America, GR America has done, having a car like this. Maybe they're just trying to do it for easy access to racing. And remember, some people think it costs a lot to get into motor racing. It does. But when you look at a car like this and you look at the Mazda series in the real world, you can do a lot for little money. You don't have to just drive around in a GT3, driving one of these GR86s.
Well, everyone, I think the GT3ification of the world in terms of what is great racing and what is great sim racing as well, I think it's a huge travesty. Everyone just seems to think now that the only way you can ever have competitive sim racing or good sim racing out there is to race in the GT3 category with a balance of performance, and they think that's the only style of racing that ever works. Newsflash, it doesn't. Any car is good enough to go out there and race, from all of the classics right up to something like this, which is grassroots in terms of the style of how they go through. McCann, though, with the work that he's done, has kept in range of Dylan McClements. It's Lawrence De Souza with 2.5 minutes to go that finds himself on the wrong side here of this podium, and he would absolutely love to find it.
Sosa would love a podium, but right now he's just not finding that pace. I think he may have heated those tires up a bit too much. Track temp has actually raised a little bit from when we started tonight. It's 23 Celsius now, it's 74 Fahrenheit. Sean Hegarty in the background having a spin. There he is. Again, it's that turn 1. If you're just trying to carry a bit too much speed, almost coming into Chanwing Fei though, and that would have been a little bit of an upset for the night.
It would have been quite upsetting to see Sean Hegarty in that Father Ted car completely obliterating Chanwing Fei and the most beautiful livery in this field without bias or prejudice or anything else. You got Rory O'Shea, though. He's finding out what makes this track difficult here. This is what Sean McGoldrick wished he had with a championship that's close. Someone like Rory O'Shea stuck in effectively the Fernando Alonso-Vitaly Petrov situation.
Oh, I've got some flashbacks to that, and it just makes you feel that is the name of the track today. When you look at how hard it is, in some respects, if Sean McGoldrick was right there with Rory O'Shea, he'd just be beside him going, not so easy now, is it? Because O'Shea has done some fantastic defending, but he cannot do anything with the attacking. That's not a mute point there for O'Shea. It's just the way this track is going at the moment. And there is Adam Dowling. Gas kind of slowed down, but let's be brutally honest, if he starts the final lap, does he need to push?
No. but he can't afford to not go at 100% because that's where the mistakes creep in. He has got himself a gap of 3.5 seconds at the front of this field. He was afforded 4 seconds at the start of the race. He's only given back an eighth of that time to Dylan McClements, knowing that he's still got a lot of leeway to play with down the hill in towards 3 and 4 as he will drive for the final time this season. McClements, McCann, De Sosa, McDonald, O'Shea, 2nd through 6th, you can throw a blanket on them. But the issue that you're going to have is that they can't catch him at the front of the field. Number 2, Adam Dowling, who drives it around turn number 8 on circuit and looks for the exit point at turn 9. Down the hill then for the last effort. McDonald will have to look in the mirrors on that last lap because Rory O'Shea's trying to find a move. But at 10, it is comfortable for Adam Dowling. Back up the hill then for the final time in this season and heading through 11 and into turn 12. This has been a masterclass of taking the opportunity that is presented in front of you. Sometimes races can be crazy. Being at the front into turn 1 often gives you the best chance of staying out of trouble. And out of trouble he did, because Adam Dowling is going to round the final corner, is going to take a drive to the line, and is going to be the winner of the final round of the Toyota GR86 series here with the RTA Virtual Motorsport overall. Brilliant efforts from everyone through. McClements and McCann rounding the podium out. McDonald with a top 5 finish that he can be very, very happy with. And ultimately, excellent racing. Despite the big dramas on lap 1, it's been a thoroughly good season.
The respect given by the drivers just shown on that last lap just goes to show how much they all respect their driving. Jamal Gandor's going to come back in 7th, and Chen Wing-Fei will take that 8th. Sean Hegarty will come home in 9th, and McGoldrick will be one of the last drivers in 10th, but Gary Cochran in 11th, and that will be every driver going. And O'Shea's now going to start going in reverse. Don't think you can do that on a racetrack, Rory.
Trying to do reverse burnouts, which are interesting to say the very least. Confirmation of results then. Adam Dowling is your race winner, does so in 20 minutes and 31 seconds, and he will do so by a margin of 3.5 seconds, heading over the line ahead of Dylan McClements. Peter McCann would finish 3rd ahead of Lawrence De Sosa, with John McDonald 5th and Rory O'Shea in 6th, finding out that John McDonald really does have a good ability to defend on top of a farm he may or may not have. Jamal Gandor, good drive from him there to recover. He gets 7th with Chan Wing-Fei in 8th, nearly getting taken out by Sean Hegarty in 9th. But a number of drivers fell in trouble on the opening lap. One of them was Sean McGoldrick, who had the black and orange mechanical flag for damage. Gary Corcoran and Ian May make up 11th and 12th positions as they go through and over the line. We're going to have to go quick fire with our interviews here tonight. And first and foremost, we will jump on with Adam Dowling, who picks up the race win. Adam, that was Christmas. You don't often get 4-second gaps after 2 turns, but there you have it.
Yeah, it was literally picked up that win. It was something different, all right. But most of the time, yeah, my laps were just atrocious. Peter was holding everybody up behind me. He was like, why aren't you getting away? I was like, I'm just crap at this track, but I just was lucky. So yeah, I'll take what I can get.
We'll apologise for any industrial language that anyone's heard just then. But Adam, you know, a season like this where there have been frustrations out there in terms of a car that can be really rewarding to drive, but also at the same point can feel very restrictive at times. Do you feel like this season for you has been something that you've been able to get to grips with, and that culminates in this win in the last round?
Yeah, no, it's been like a pretty decent car. It's just at times tricky to overtake each other. You kind of get stuck in a bit of a draft train. But yeah, it's always good to learn a new car, and kind of it does take me a couple of rounds for it to pick up and get good at it.
Well, the floor is yours here, Adam. Anybody you'd like to thank? It's a victory in the season closer.
Cheers to Peter for holding everyone up in the race, and cheers for Peter for all his work as an admin on the RTA stuff throughout the season.
Well, no worries at all in terms of what you've been able to achieve in this final race. Adam Dowling picks it up, and his biggest applause of thanks over that race currently stands with us now and is stood by with Craig King.
Yep, got Peter McCann here sitting in P3 after the race. Peter, it looked like you were having a bit of fun there, but it also looked like you were having a bit of a challenge with about 5 cars trying to get past you.
Yeah, I didn't get on for practice last night, guys, and had big trouble up to about 10 minutes before the server went into quali, so had no practice and just knew I had to be the cork in the bottle again tonight. So.
Well, the cork in the bottle did prove out, and it didn't burst. It just slightly came out here. But it's safe to say it's been another successful season for the RTA series. And as we look forward to the next season, these GR86s have provided some very good racing. Is there anything that stands out to you from this season that you will remember?
Yeah, I think it was the season that forced us to really look at how we make moves and how we pass in these cars, and going forward will probably be a lot better on that front. Definitely been the hardest season we've had so far for trying to make an overtake, especially at some of the tracks we decided to choose for ourselves. So it's been good.
Personally, I like some of the tracks. Let's bring back some VIR Grand West like we have seen earlier in the season. But the floor, Peter, is yours for the night to give your shout-outs before we let you go on your way.
Just to thank everyone for joining the season again. It's been a little bit quieter than we're used to, but hopefully the F3 cars come back a bit stronger again. To you guys as well, streams are always fantastic, and just to the rest of the admin team for keeping this great thing going.
Well, that is Peter McCann. He finished in third tonight. He was the cork in the bottle, and we're not having that champagne released just yet, Jake.
No, we're not. We have Dylan McClemens here, though, who might be a little bit too young to have champagne at this moment. I'm sure there's some rose water somewhere that we can substitute in. Dylan, great result out there for you, that second position. But racing today, a fourth, a third, and a second, it looked like you were improving with race on race on race. Were you hoping for one more race so you could have a shot at that victory, it seems, by trend?
Yeah, it was gaining on... I don't know, I forget his name, but I was gaining on him the last couple of laps, and if there was just like 5 more minutes, then maybe I could have caught him, but like, you can't ask for too much.
You certainly can't. And in terms for you, as someone who is brand new into sim racing, of course, you got Sean, of course, who gave you the opportunity to go and race and say, well, this is how quick I can be, and this is what I can do. For you, in terms of your first real series out there in sim racing, your first understanding of driving with other competitors in a sim environment, what makes your development of sim racing fun for you, and how important was it for you to go out there and enjoy these sorts of races?
It was just like the community of the races, and then the crack on the calls, and coming into racing and starting and like being near the top, it's something different, but I'm still lacking a couple of things there now. I'm just gonna have to find that throughout the next couple of months.
Well, we hope you do. The floor is yours though, Dylan. Anybody you'd like to thank?
My family and my brother Sean again, and you guys and the lads at RTA.
Well, the pleasure's all ours, Dylan. Thank you very much for joining us. Second position overall in that final round of the championship, and the season does, in fact, draw itself then to a close. I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who has got it done over the course of this season, from, of course, the likes of whoever it was there who went through and did some amazing work over the course of this season. That, of course, being the likes, of course, of Daniel, of Craig, of as well Dougie Beard on his cameras, and on top of that, Sebastian too on the one round I wasn't here. Some wonderful stuff has gone through. You can catch all of the equipment and series information in terms of what makes our broadcasts happen, including the music from June Lalonde. Her music is incredible. You can catch it on her Bandcamp using the link junelalonde.bandcamp.com. In terms of where we are, you can always subscribe to us, be it on YouTube, but you can also go to us on what is X now. The old Twitter logo doesn't work anymore, but you also got Facebook, and you've also got Instagram on top of that. You can head over to www.globalsimracingchannel.com to keep yourself up to date, and head over to our merch store, gsrc.com. Loads of amazing stuff coming up on the horizon. That's cycling on your screen. In terms of this season, though, it's brought to a close. Rory O'Shea is your champion. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track. Yeah.